So I'm sure by now everybody's heard TEKASHI 6ix9ine's rant. They've heard his song, and he's really on one. But the reality of the situation is, yes, he did what he did. He snitched, he ratted, whatever you want to call it. However you feel about his new song, I mean, I don't think it's terrible. I'm not wild about it. I didn't put it in my New Music Friday promo because I felt like there was better music out there. But he is a prime example of an artist that is taking a negative opportunity or a negative situation and turning it into a profitable opportunity. He has seized the spotlight. He is running up the numbers on every streaming platform, including social media. I think he had over 2 million viewers for his IG Live, which is unheard of. I think his video for the new song did about 16 million views in 4 hours. So there's a lot of interest, and he sees in the moment. So you can't be mad at that. So I say that to say, for artists, everybody wants to try to grab those viral moments. Obviously, his situation is very unique in the way that he went viral, and there's a lot of people that don't like it. So a lot of the eyes that are on him are just to see what's going to happen next, what's he going to do next, or just to hate on him or to troll on him. And you know what? It is what it is. He's still getting those eyes, and I don't think he cares. He knows what he did. He admits what he did, but he sees in the moment. So, but how does that pertain to like an artist that is just starting out or just getting their sea legs? I tell people all the time, there's very few viral moments that happen per year. You might get about 2 or 3 if you're lucky, maybe 4. But most of the time, it's a hard, continuous grind. So I get asked all the time, hey, J1, I am a new artist. I am up and coming. How do I get started? How do I get playlisted? Okay, so for one, I'm quick to tell artists that playlisting is not your answer, especially if you're just starting out and people are unfamiliar with your music. Why is playlisting not the answer? Because the thinking is, oh, I'm getting my music in front of a whole bunch of people, and if they just hear it, they'll like it. Well, maybe. In a perfect world, yes, we would like to think that like everybody just likes all good music. But the reality of the situation is most people like stuff that they are familiar with or they know the story to. People say they want to hear new music, but the reality of the situation is their actions do something different. So what I see in the statistics at Pandora are, the song might be great in my opinion, but if people aren't familiar with it, they'll skip it, they'll thumb it down, and that just hurts the artist analytics. So when I first got on Pandora, I was excited because I had a radio background. With radio, you really don't have a lot of room or leeway to add a whole bunch of music. But with these streaming platforms, I had different playlists and stations. So I felt like I could really playlist or give opportunities to different artists and stuff. And what I found was a lot of these songs that I was playlisting, though I thought they were good, I thought that they would do well, they actually had the worst thumb ratio scores, and they had some of the highest skip rates. Why? Because again, people weren't familiar with them. So when people hear something that might not be familiar, and it could be from a mainstream artist, it doesn't even necessarily have to be an independent artist. If it's somebody that that's somewhat established and they put a new song out that's unfamiliar with not any type of backstory or any type of traction on it, sometimes it flops. So happens to a lot of artists. So back to my independent artists with playlisting and stuff like that. What you want to do is not always go after the biggest playlist, because again, what will happen is, let's say I put you on a big playlist and your song goes up in streams, it rises, you're happy for like the first week or so. I get the analytics back and your skip rate is higher than the average. Your thumb ratio is not good. And when I say thumb ratio, people thumbing up the record. So what happens? I have to take the record off. So your streams basically went from here and dropped like a rock. And if you're trying to get traction, you're trying to get a label situation or financing, whatever the case may be, that's not good from an analytics standpoint. You rather have a slow incline where you're continually rising up. It might not be sharp numbers, a sharp rise, but you're continually gradually increasing your streams and you're maintaining a good level as opposed to a sharp rise and an even sharper decline. So that's what happens when artists get on playlists and they're not ready. It can hurt you more than it can help you. So my suggestion is find smaller playlists, and they might be third-party playlist situations where, and what I mean by that, these are people that make playlists on the different streaming platforms but aren't necessarily affiliated with them or work for them. Pandora has plenty of them. All of the streaming platforms have some sort of third-party playlisting people. I mean, you might be a third-party playlister. It's really not that hard to do. But you got to watch out which ones are real and which ones are kind of the frauds or bots or what have you, because there's a lot of that going on as well, and you definitely don't want that. So research who is doing, playlisting. I know some DJs here in Atlanta that do playlists across all the different streaming platforms. You have bloggers, you have editorial magazines that do playlists. So if you're able to get in contact with a lot of these people, especially the DJs, because before you had DJs doing mixtapes, and once streaming came into play, mixtapes kind of faded out, especially the ones that were paying out, decent sums of money. Especially if a DJ and an artist were selling the mixtapes for $5 to $10 a pop, those days are gone. So DJs are trying to figure out ways to monetize, especially now that a lot of the clubs are gone, or we don't know when they're coming back. So they're trying to get their revenue back. So a lot of them are resorting to creating their own playlists across all the streaming platforms. And some of these DJs have a lot of traction. They have big social media followings, and that translates over to big followers on their playlist. So if you're able to get on some of their playlists and work your way up as far as building up your streams, building them up organically, building up your social media at the same time, you're building a story. It's like building a house. You don't want your house built on a shaky foundation or a foundation made of sand. You want it to be solid, and you want to build your whole career off of something that's real, something that's tangible. Yes, it's cool if you can get that big hit, that big viral moment, but what happens after that? What happens when you shoot up so fast and you're at the top of the mountain and you don't know how you got up there, and you don't know if you can recreate that process? So yes, the slow grind, it can be hard. It can be frustrating. It can be an economic strain, especially if you don't have a big budget. But that's what really separates those artists who make it from those artists who look for the shortcuts. Shortcuts, if you shortcut something, you half-ass something, you're going to get half-ass results. It's just the reality of the situation. So to all my independent artists, man, I hope you got something out of this. I would say this to you. Instead of going after the big playlist, find some third-party playlisters. And if you're looking to build up like your social media platform and everything like that, get with some of these influencers. These influencers actually get paid by record companies or different artists to promote, to create dances, to create challenges. That's what they do. And that's what helps you, build up your base, build up your social media. And who knows, maybe one of these influencers will cause you to have a viral moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not disparaging a viral moment. I'm not disparaging what TEKASHI 6ix9ine is doing as far as capturing this moment to his own benefit and to drive up his streams and drive up that attention. That is what you're supposed to do if you are a smart artist. But what I am saying is those type of situations don't happen for everybody. Again, it's a slow grind. You have to be strategic with your movements. You have to be strategic with your money. You have to be strategic with your marketing plan, especially if you don't have a big budget or a big team like that. That's when you really have to be strategic. So, hope this was helpful. Again, we started talking about TEKASHI 6ix9ine and how he's using this moment to really push his own agenda and push his music, which he's supposed to be doing. Again, whether you agree with what he did, whether you agree with him, you like him or like the song, that's besides the point. Like, I've kind of detached myself from it. I have my own personal views, but it's not about me. It's about my listeners. It's about you that stream and listen to Pandora, giving you the best experience. So if you want to hear TEKASHI 6ix9ine, it's my job as a programmer to play it. Whether you want to hear it out of spite, malice, or curiosity, or that you just genuinely like him and like his music, it's my responsibility to do it. So again, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to be doing more of these, I guess impromptu lessons or gems and stuff like that. So hopefully you will get more out of it. And make sure you comment below, subscribe to my YouTube page, and keep checking back in. I appreciate y'all.